Good afternoon and welcome to Mindful Caregiver Conversations. My name's Donna Ray. I am a yoga teacher and mindfulness teacher and coach. And this is Mindful Caregiver Conversation. And I'm joined today by Miss Susie and Miss Faye. And they are here to share with us their caregiver story. So welcome.
Thank you.
So we'll start by asking the first question. Who are you? What would you like to share with the viewers and listeners today?
Well, I'll introduce us. We're Susie and Faye. We're daughters of Nanny, daughters of Susie, daughters of Roberta, daughters of Jane, and daughters of the Fulani women of Nigeria. And that's our African ancestry. Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That is much more than to hear your story, the daughters of. So how'd you come to share, to know that information?
Well, our oldest sister, Okella, is our family genealogist. So she traced us back to our ancestor, Jane. And then our niece owns AfricanAncestry.com. And that's the only genetic DNA company currently in operation that not only traces the region that you're from or the country, but the actual people that you belong to if they have that DNA in their database. So that's on our mother's line, who we've been traced back to the Fulani women of present day Nigeria.
Thank you for sharing that. Miss Faye, is there something you'd like to add?
Well, I would just say that while we knew that history because my sister is such an avid genealogist, we have been actively sharing that because of our relationship with girltrek.org, which is the largest behavioral health organization for women in the world. And they clearly remind us always to know from whence we came. And so now, when we're called to introduce ourselves, we introduced ourselves in terms of who we are, the daughters of. And there is a quote that talks about the power when you speak the names of your ancestors.
Mm, mm. So during a call earlier, we were encouraged to include that. And so I'll share mine since I know also.
Okay,
Please
So,
do.
please do.
all right. So I am the daughter of Lenora, who is the daughter of Pauline, who is the daughter of Ophelia.
Nice.
So I have the honor of knowing them by name because um, it was stories that was talked about quite often, especially like with my grandmother. So she talked about her mother all the time. And then I had the honor of caring for my grandmother. So I heard a lot of stories firsthand. And then actually, some of that was even asterisks next to it with my mom. So,
Hmm.
yes, thank
And I
you.
will add that, um, as we will talk about, caregiving is a very difficult task.
Mm,
But part of the joy that comes from that, for us, we know we come from a long line of caregivers. My grandmother, Susie, for whom she is named, was the neighborhood midwife. And she delivered babies for both black and white mothers. And our grandfather was the neighborhood healer.
mm, 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 mm. That's such a beautiful story. I to hear so many different ways that we get to show up and take care of others or love on each other is part of the story that I don't quite often get to hear.
Mm.
So, who is it that you care for now or in the recent past?
Well, we currently care for our mother. She's 99 years
Who
old.
you may hear in the background yelling my name, but
Mhm. So if she lives to this December 2022, she'll be 100. So she's the last of, when she passes, she'll be the last of a generation of our family. There's
Mm,
no more brothers and sisters on her mother's side or our father's side. So she is the last of a generation. So we will be the elders when she dies. There'll be no one else from her generation on both sides of the family.
Yeah. So obviously we're looking forward to December, and right now we think we're going to have a big celebration at the church that she has attended for
65 years.
For 65 years. They called the other day and asked could they host the party, her 100th party, and we said, oh yes, that solves that problem.
So is she looking forward to that?
You never know. You never know.
If you ask her, she says, I'm not 100 already. So,
Oh, that is tremendous. Okay. So what is it that she does during the day?
Watch TV, eat. We try to get her to do things like color, puzzles. She still likes to read if you put something before her, like put out all her Mother's Day cards and let her read them again. Because if they're sitting up on a mantelpiece, she can't see them. But she will still read, but not too much. We have exercises for her, but she won't do too much. But whatever she feels like, we let her do it.
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
Okay.
And so Susie is actually the caregiver. And she lives with my mother in Philadelphia. And for years, Susie lived upstairs and my mother lived downstairs in a duplex. But as she's aged, you pretty much live down.
My clothes are still upstairs,
but she lives downstairs now. And I actually live in Florida. But there's 5 girls, and the 3 of us that are out of town, we try to cycle through several times a year and stay for 2-3 weeks. I have one sister, she'll stay for a month or 2. And that's just to let Susie know how much we appreciate her taking the role of caregiver, because it has solved so many issues for us. And then again, just to kind of give her a break so she can go for a walk or she can go do whatever she wants to and not have to make arrangements, because she does have support here. She has to make arrangements. There are people, but in the course of your life, sometimes you just want to go do something. You don't want it to be a big deal. And sometimes if you have to make arrangements to do stuff,
I just don't do it.
You just won't do it. You just won't do it. Yeah.
Okay, so then within the family, then you all schedule like when you gonna be there.
I have a brother in the city. We only have one brother in the city, and I'll arrange with him to come over. Or I have some girlfriends, and they were coming over. But you do have to let them. I like to let them know a few days in advance, and they will come. But sometimes, or then if it's later in the evening, I'll just say just forget it, because you don't want to put it on them, and mom, of course, she has dementia, so she's worse in the evening. It's harder for someone to help her in the evening. So sometimes it's just easier for me to just forego and just, she's 99, so, it's okay.
It's her world.
Right.
Okay.
And I also, I think you want to get to this, but maybe I can jump to it. You said something that you want other caregivers to know. How I keep my head. One, even though I can't walk as much as I like outside, I still do exercise tapes just about every day. Faye will tell you, even
every night she makes me do 11 o'clock. She made me do a tape 2 nights in a row.
And like I told some of the ladies earlier, I said you have to have what we say in Philly to the Girl Trek ladies is you have to have habit over motivation. You don't wake up and say, oh, well, am I going to brush my teeth today? Am I going to wash my face today? Or am I going to go to work today? It's some things you just do because out of habit. And so you make your exercise or whatever, self-care, your prayer or whatever, you make that your habit. So even when you're not motivated, I might not be motivated to brush my teeth, but it's going to be very few days I miss brushing my teeth because that's my habit. And I also tell when people say, oh, well, it's this or it's that, I said, well, and we have another relative in a nursing home that I get to visit sometime. And I just say, if they're older than me, they know what it is to be my age. There is no way I know how it feels to be their age. So I have to just try to have grace because, they've been 66. I haven't been 96. So I don't know what that feels
like. A habit, right? Over being okay.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that they have so much technology, if that's an app
Absolutely.
or if you're actually using a CD or DVD in order to
YouTube,
still or
YouTube
YouTube.
University. Yeah.
Okay, YouTube University. So you have some on
Kind
there
of
that you
workout
like.
you want. It's on
Okay.
YouTube from 10 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes. So,
Okay. All right. So what does exercising actually do for you?
oh, it just refreshes me. It clears my mind. Um, it relaxes me. Hopefully, I have gained a few pounds. I was bragging that I hadn't gained no COVID weight, but I have gained a few pounds. But so just to keep the weight down, because I'm not moving just in general in daily life like I was.
Mhm.
So it's good, mind, body, and spirit.
All right, Miss Faye, how about you? What do you do to care for yourself?
Here comes my mother.
Huh? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. You okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. We're coming to help you in just a minute.
She has
This is live. We're looking at our friend Donna. You saw her the other day. Donna, you go ahead. I'm coming to help you. Take your time.
I will say that because Susie is her caregiver, she depends on Susie and calls on Susie nonstop. So if it's just me here, she'll say, I have to go to the bathroom. Where's Susie? And if I say, well, Susie's out, she said, okay. And then she goes by herself. But if Susie's here, she will insist that Susie helps her. So we say she's 99 going on 5. You know how kids cling to their mother and they want their mother to do everything. So every time when people ask how she is, we say, oh, 99 going on 5. So yeah. So that was a moment. She knew she could have done this herself, but
Yes.
she knew Susie was in here.
Okay.
She'll go to the bathroom and do things and won't. Even my girlfriend, she'll say, you don't have to come and help me. She'll wait outside. But if I'm here, I can't do it. I can't get up. I can't.
That's interesting because I'm having that same experience with my mom, and that's been kind of a source of irritation. And so it's like, I know you can do it. And as soon as I'm unavailable, I come back. Then she told me she did it. So
Right.
I'm like,
You're there.
yeah, okay. Well, thank you for that insight. So I know that's universal, right? Okay.
That's universal. Yeah, just like kids. That's why I say she's 99 going on 5. Kids want the parent to do stuff for them, and they could do it themselves. But they want their mom or their dad to do it for them.
Okay.
So it's a reverse. I don't know what the psychology or the medical term is, but it's like a revert to childhood in many ways.
Okay. All right. Well, then that leads me to this next question. What do you want caregivers to know? Or what's a truth?
Yeah, I think what I said earlier, that if it's because you could be caring for somebody young, you could be caring for a child, you could be caring for a sister or a brother who is in your same age range. But if you're caring for someone older, like I said before, I just would try to remember whatever age you are, they know what it feels to be that age. The older person, you don't know what that feels like, to be losing your memory, to be losing your mobility, to have many of your friends. Of course, my mother has no husband, no brothers, no sisters, no sister-in-laws, no brother-in-laws left. To have virtually, well, I won't say none, but very few contemporaries. She had 3 friends lived to be 100. 2 female friends and a male friend lived to be 100, but they're all passed now. So to have very few contemporaries alive, I don't know what that feels like. And she often tells me she's ready. She's ready. Oh yeah, she tells me she's ready. I don't know why I can't just die. She says that. Yeah. And you say, oh, that's okay, don't feel that way. Well, I don't know what it feels like to have lived 99 years and be tired of living
and be tired.
So just try to have grace with that. Just whatever you're feeling, chances are, if they felt something like that, we haven't quite felt everything that they have felt.
Right. And the tendency is to say to her, oh, don't say that, don't feel that way, because my mother doesn't have any diseases. I mean, she's just old. She can still move around. She can still go to the bathroom. She can dress herself, however, very slowly, just like a 5-year-old. And you might want to redo it after she has done it. And so there is this tendency to say, oh, don't, you shouldn't feel that way. There's nothing wrong with you. You can live to be 110. And again, that's not fair because we don't know. We don't know what she's feeling and what she's going through. Yeah.
And see, that's a great reminder to me to just show up and kind of hold the space for what is most alive in that moment. Because I quite often try to be encouraging and to my mom. And I think part of why I do that is because, my grandmother came to us at an older age than my mom is now. And so my grandmother was very much um, physically, mentally, and emotionally able to do a lot of things up to maybe the last 4 years that she was with us. And so part of me wants to keep pushing my mom to, to me, she still got 15 good years. And so what I'm hearing you say is, I don't know what it's like to be her age or to be in her shoes or to have her memories or her stories. And so just to show up and kind of acknowledge it and allow it to be.
Right. And I would say it's probably no different than when we were teenagers and your parents had expectations for you to do better or to do more, and you didn't want to do it. And you felt then you had the right not to want to do it. And so she has the right not to want to do it. Just because we've decided that that's the best thing for her doesn't make it so. And there's a famous quote about, how nobody really wants to be fixed or something, that ultimately the way you show love is just to be and to accept and love whomever exactly like they are, because that's what we all want, right? Is to be loved just like, not when we get better, not if we do this, not when we get fixed, but exactly as they are, as exactly as we are. I also say that I think a truth, while our caregiving is challenging, because all caregiving is challenging, um, in many ways we prepared for it. And so my mother getting old was not like some big shock, which happens. Oh my God, we got to go get mom. She's old. I didn't realize she was old. I didn't realize she was in this bad a shape. I didn't realize, I didn't realize, I didn't realize. And I would say the same thing. Um, uh, uh, my father-in-law, we cared for him in the last years of his life while he turned 100. And again, it wasn't that it was easy, but we had planned as a family. And so my truth
Mhm.
is that everyone will either be a caregiver or you will need care at some
Mhm.
point in your life. And yet, those kinds of conversations across generations rarely take place until there is some
Crisis.
a crisis of some sort. So I say to everyone, you're going to need care. And so you should be preparing to need care. And if you think and if you're in someone's life that you're close to, you're probably going to have to give them care at some point. And it really doesn't make it fatalistic or
Mhm.
disrespectful to acknowledge that someone is going to die one day. Because as my daddy used to say, we're not built to last forever.
No one comes to stay. That's what he used to always say. He died at 88.
He said, no one comes to stay. So I would just give a call out to everyone who has given no thought to this, that today is the day, and it might already be too late in terms of adequate preparation.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're mentioning that because probably for at least the last 5 years, that was probably the central thing that I was talking to a lot of my friends about. I was like, nobody told me what caregiving was, and I resisted it. And so how do I know the things that I need to know in order to do it? And so that was never part of a conversation or in preparation, uh, at least not in any formal way. I mean, I think I just kind of picked up based on what other people were saying about it. So to start to have those conversations now with people, because like you say, you're going to give care or receive care.
Or
I mean,
receive
that's
at some point.
right.
It's a
Ab-
fact.
And I
As
would
the
say, if you have younger people in your life, don't shield them. If someone is in a nursing home, if there's somebody from your church that's in a nursing home, now because of COVID, visits were restricted, but now that things are opening back up, because that's something that well, I don't know so much about Faye, but we have two younger sisters. They used to make us go with the missionaries from church. We would go to the nursing homes, we would go to the prisons, we would go to the hospitals, and the older ladies, they would talk to us and they would say, we're getting ready to go in, and somebody might call you their daughter. They might want to touch you. They might cry when they start to see you, but you don't have to be afraid. So that instilled in me, so I'm really not afraid of people in a frail circumstance. That's very frightening for a lot of people. And when things were open and there, people would drag the kids from the church and stuff, and the kids would be sitting in the corner, eating cake or whatever that the staff had got for them. And I went over and I told them, I said, "You hate being here, don't you?" And I said, "You don't have to say it, because I know you hate being here, because I didn't want to come when they made me come. I don't want to be around here around all these sick old people." I said, "But one day you're gonna this is building you in ways you don't know, and one day you're gonna use this experience, and it's gonna be helpful for you, and you're gonna appreciate that your parents and those around you instilled in you the bent or the attitude or the aptitude to care about other people." And so, of course,
They keep on eating their
they
cake.
keep on eating the cake that the staff got for them, the cookies or whatever the staff got for them. But it's frightening. It's frightening. I know people my age. They'll do anything for you, but they don't want to go see nobody sick. It's frightening because we forces us all to face our mortality. Yeah. But it's the thing to me worse than being sick or worse than being infirmed, and it's being isolated and no one come to see you, no one come to hug you, no one put a flower in your room, no one put a card or a teddy bear in your room. Those places, as you know, can be very, very bleak when you can tell that no one is coming in to see about them, no matter how good the staff is. And the same thing people can get very mistreated at home too, or not necessarily mistreated, but neglected at home, or just not being engaged. And a lot of it, I think, is just their fear. They don't want to they don't know how to they just don't know how to hug and embrace a frail old person. They're afraid.
Those are all great reminders. Those are all great insights, and to show up and to care for the people that we have maybe right here in our daily lives, and maybe beyond that, and to at least, and to even maybe contemplate that.
To even because that's the beginning, is the contemplation.
Okay. All right. Well, I very enjoyed this opportunity to talk to both of y'all in the same room today. This is outstanding.
Been able to encourage someone.
Yes. And so one last, how can people be in touch with you, or if there's some other organization that you're affiliated with that you'd like to share?
We don't have any personal blogs or Instagrams or anything, but we're very active with Girl Trek. So you can follow Girl Trek Healthy Black Women and Girls on Facebook, or at Girl Trek on Instagram.
Right, and you can find her at Girl Trek Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly Treks.
And you can find me at Girl Trek St. Louis and Girl Trek South Florida. I have 2 feet in the Girl Trek world.
And we thank you for being in the Girl Trek world.
Absolutely, and that's how we are connected. Right. That's how we became friends and family.
We started walking together.
Absolutely.
Everybody out there, get your crew. 1 or 2 and you as a crew, get to walking. Walking helps everything.
Absolutely. And that's the commitment, right? To a daily walk. That's how we start. Well, thank you both again. It's been an honor to be able to talk to you specifically about caregiving and what it means to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.